Hi, I'm Jason Gore for thatshop.com, and we're here to look at an AK2515 V2. Doesn't say very much in it, but it's a visualizer for my home theater setup. Ridiculously, I decided to pick one up, and I thought I'd show it to you.
Big change.
Look, Techmoan is the hero of all visualizers, but consider this my little addition to the sort of discourse about this. I've been wanting one of these for a while. My system is really fantastic. I'm very, very happy about it. But obnoxiously, I want a little bit of blinkage. I don't have VU meters on my amps and stuff like that. And when I'm using it in a home theater environment, I want everything to be off. But when I'm listening to music or listening to some records, it'd be nice to have a little bit of blinkiness going on. And I thought that this would be a nice thing. It was on sale, and so I decided to pick it up. And this is actually kind of interesting because it's kind of put it all together. I gotta say, I thought it was much larger than this. I thought it was full rack size, but I mean, it's actually probably good that it's only this big. But let's crack it open and actually see what's inside. So as you open it up, you get some documentation that actually shows off what it actually does, and all the various hitting of different buttons to get the different modes and all of that stuff, which is a lot of fun. And just a foam layer. And you can see that what you have here is, you know, a fancy little thing. It's only this big. I thought it was a full 12-inch rack. I was wrong. They may sell that one, but this one's not. Has all of these vacuum fluorescent, I believe there. Sounds like it, or at least they look like that. They're LEDs looking like vacuum fluorescent. That's basically what it is. And it'll actually show off a bunch of fancy stuff. We have this sexy prophylactic plastic that we'll deal with in a moment. We have a bunch of pegs. This is what we're actually going to use to actually assemble the thing. We have here a mini jack to two 3.5 millimeter inputs. I assume this is just for pass-through. We have here just a straight up 3.5 to 3.5. And we have a USB-A to USB-C cable. Pretty straightforward. Underneath here, we have these, which are the panels actually wrapped in this sort of cardboardy paper. The acrylic that will go in the front and the back of this thing. So I'm going to put this thing together, and then I'll come back after it's assembled. We'll see how all that works. So this is how this is actually going to go. You can see the actual unit here has all these other elements, the little click buttons here, all the op amps and all that other nonsense. Here's the USB-C charger on the side. And on here, very interesting to see how this actually will behave when it actually gets constructed. And then the acrylic pieces here. And then we have the set of screws and other elements, accoutrement, that we're going to put in here. And a nice little Allen key that actually gives us something to work with. So we'll look at the instructions here. Dedicated VFD spectrum analyzer, resolution 25 by 15. Accurate clock display function. This is nice that it's accurate. Up, down, all of this stuff. Speed setting mode. Important notes. Does it actually say how to actually assemble the thing? It does not, but it should be relatively straightforward. Yeah, single spedding, and then it says nothing about the actual installation. So we'll see how this actually goes. What do we have here? We have a bunch of screws. We'll actually just do it this way. We have a bunch of screws, a bunch of risers. Well, this is a little bit complicated, isn't it? So here it is assembled. I mean, I don't think I butchered it too badly. It is very cute looking. As I said, in my head it was much larger. I don't know why. Story of my life. The buttons sort of shine through here on the acrylic, and it's actually probably good that it's only this size for that matter. It's already getting some dust actually accumulating, just floating in the air, but that's okay. I'll be able to wipe this down. I just have a little bit of charger, and we'll actually plug this in and see how it works. Right here, immediately, it's working exactly like what I want it to do. And here we have, as ridiculous as it is, try to get the glare out, is that we have, as I speak, I have a spectrum analyzer. It's so ridiculous how much joy this actually fills me with, but what can we do? I bet if I hit a bunch of these buttons, they're going to be different modes. One of these will be different modes. I got to figure all of this out, of course. Oh, there we are. So here's one mode, another mode. Keep going through. Upside down. So here it is in action, actually having been set up. It's an incredibly powerful unit, but it's super surreal to actually set up in the way that we would actually want to follow. The verbiage is quite complex and almost surreal in its use of language. I mean, it's not just a different translation, it's just a different sort of mode of being, it seems. Basically what it is that there are 3 buttons on the side, an up, a down, and an OK. And each button has multiple clicks that it can actually be assigned with. And it's, once you actually get the hang of it, it's actually reasonably simple to do as long as you have the documentation in front of you, you know, the sort of weird sheet. And if you look at sort of what's going on here, the first one says on normal mode, audio V mode, click the OK switch to make audio UV meter mode, which we've done. A single click up. On the up button is a mode change, a single click down. On the down button is a mode change, and a single click OK is the bottom line display. So let's just demonstrate that. So if I hit OK here, you can see the red disappears from the bottom. Very straightforward. I hit it once, and it goes back. And you can see every time I click on the right-hand side, in the top right-hand corner, I get a little indication that's what I've done. If I hit the up and down button, I'll go through the various modes. Obviously, I have this as an EQ mode, so let's just do 1. And then you get this sort of flying around. Another. Different kinds of bouncing. We're sort of in between tracks here. I have this coming straight out of my phono preamp, so you can actually see there was a little bit of noise as the record was continuing in between tracks. Here's mode 3, mode 4, 5, 6, and I seem to be at the top here. You can see that there's no indication. You would think that it would loop. Yep, it does loop. I guess those were subtly different. I keep going here. And again, if I was to do this quickly, it would count as a double click. And here we are back to where we started. Obviously, down does the same thing. So if I go down once, I go to here. And if I go up once, I go to here. You know, relatively straightforward. This is what you get from having one click, as it were, normal mode. Audio spectrum. Click OK. Switch for audio spectrum and audio spectrum mode for a single click. So that's the mode change and OK in the bottom red line. So we've done that. I mean, it's basically the exact same thing as in normal mode and also in audio spectrum mode, which is what we're currently in. So just letting us know that in either mode, and we'll get to the sort of general display modes, how that works. Now we get to the double clicks. So double click on up will actually we'll switch it between normal and upside down mode. So this is actually kind of interesting because, look, if I'm clicking through here looking for a different setup, and I go down again, and let's say I accidentally hit click on up, everything goes upside down. Now upside down, I'm supposed to be able to do a single click on OK, which I'll do now, and it's supposed to show red sort of on the bottom, or in this case on the top of the screen. It doesn't do that. For me to go back, click, click, and then we are right side up. It's nice that we can do that in case you actually want to, for whatever reason. If I hit down on this, the normal mode, inverted color mode. So if I click, click on the bottom, click, click, you can see that it looks kind of the same, but really it's an inversion of what's happening. It's like it's fully lit, except for where you're actually seeing the actual signals actually go through. What's nice, if I can do a single click now, is I can look at different modes of that, and you get some really funky things. I'm going to hit twice, 1, 2, down, and it goes back, and then I'm going to hit down once, and it's going to go back to where I want it to be. And so that's the up and down. And then the double click is the real smooth or smooth output, which is switching between these modes. So if I double click OK, click, click, I have this mode, click, click, and then it goes through that, and I get some sort of weird error, say, or not error, just an indication that it's S out, and that's between those. So click, 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 and I just get S out. And you can see that why the challenges of this. You're like, what the heck is S out mean? But it is what it is. We then do the 3-click, which again, it's so weird that the sort of smaller number of clicks are the ones that I'm least likely to ever change, but this is where we're at. So a 3-click on the up is the noise filtering. So let's do click, 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 and it's telling me to be quiet, because what I have to do is actually turn off. I'm going to lift up the cartridge here. It is now okay. So let's just do this, click, click, click. And it's actually doing with a triple click, it is doing its noise filtering to actually get rid of background noise. It tells me it's okay, and it basically is creating a noise floor. It's creating what the sound is like when no music is playing. Because I actually have our mini jack in, that's what's actually going, and so it's actually doing that, which is actually, it works very well actually, but that's what's doing that. If I hit down 3 times, the 1-click noise filtering function is turned off. I don't really want to do that. And this is interesting. If I hit 3 times the OK, 1, 2, 3, this is how we change from mic in to 1, 2, 3, line in. And you know, that's relatively straightforward. You see what happened is I accidentally hit the up. So let me go down 1, and then we're back to here. So, you know, almost makes sense. Then we get to the 4-click. This is where 4-click on up we will get to. 4-click on down is where we actually deal with certain things. But let's first do the OK quad click. So OK, 1, 2, 3, 4. And this is where I get my gain options. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then I can switch between the different gains. This is obviously auto gain. 0 would be just 0 decibels coming in. Let's see what that looks like. And you can see it's much lower than it was before at 0 decibels. 1, 2, 3, 4. I have to go back into this. And then let's just say I go to minus 20 dB. And then it's actually showing me this, so I can actually set this 1, 2, 3, 4. Minus 15 dB. 1, 2, 3, 4, 10 dB, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 dB, 2, 3, 4, 0 dB, or just in this case, I'm just doing it on the auto gain. Okay, so now we're back to the 4-click. I'm going to hit up 4 times. 1, 2, 3, 4, and this. Look at the different ranges that I actually have that I can actually do this. Now I'm doing this for vinyl. The default, I believe, if I understand this correctly, I believe is 50 to 4. So that's what this would look like. And you can see right up to the top level, especially on vinyl, I have like bars all the way up. Not necessarily what I want. Now for me to make that change, I can't super quickly. I have to go back in. So let me again hit up 4 times. 1, 2, 3, 4. And let's do 150 to 4. That'll be even more chunky. You can see that on the left-hand side, it's even more sort of busy. 1, 2, 3, 4. 32 hertz to 16 kilohertz. And you can see because it's vinyl, you're obviously going to have quite a roll-off at the top, and the bass is doing what it's doing. I just have sort of a random record playing now. Miami Vice 2 soundtrack for those paying attention. 1, 2, 3, 4. It's 32 to 4K. And you can see now on the right-hand side, much more populated, as it were. 1, 2, 3, 4. And 50 to 20 kilohertz. And so this is, you know, down to the bass level, not quite down to 30 kilohertz, but all the way up to the very high frequencies. And it's sort of interesting to see what actually does pop up there, considering that it is vinyl playback, and you can sort of mess around that. Then we get the, sorry, I didn't do the down one. That's the compression. So let's do 4 clicks on down. 1, 2, 3, 4. And I have different compression levels. You can see here, I can make it flat. I can emphasize the treble. And in other words, how it actually reads it. In this case, I'll just leave it flat. And that's sort of giving us the most accurate. Again, this is just for play. I'm not actually doing any recording or anything like that, but it is fun to be able to adjust that. Then we get to the 5 click. The 5 click is the different display mode when it has a signal. It's whether it's auto display when it's there or not, or no signal. And I actually want that on. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, auto off. Basically 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And I want it to be on auto off. And that gives me the choice there. So automatic mode displays spectrum when receiving an audio signal or displays a clock, which I don't want. Automatic mode without auto of display when receiving audio signal. Enter deep sleep when there is no audio signal, which is what I want. The music mode is the audio mode, which is always displayed, and the clock is never displayed. And then the clock mode, obviously the clock there. Now let's do 5 click for down, which switches menu interface effects to right and stuff. Actually, we don't even need to see it. It's just basically how the menu actually displays. It's pretty straightforward. And then the 5 for OK completely changes the mode. So again, it's 5 clicks to totally change. I mean, why not? We're here 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 on down, and you can see I can choose, oops, you saw what I did there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The menu comes down. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, the menu comes here. Now watch what happens when I hit 5 on the OK. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now I'm on decibel mode. And now that we're on decibel mode, we kind of start at the very beginning again. Because now if I hit the up and down arrows or hit the OK, I will get different lights, etc. So let's just hit OK once and see what happens. Nothing. There is no red light. It is not like on the left-hand side or anything like that changes. But let's hit up once. And it just does a different, you see that's actually holding a different sort of dB mode. I hit it one more time. Hit it one more time. The difference in these are slightly less dramatic. One more time. Again, I'm never going to use this, but it is kind of fun that it's actually there if you want a different kind of blinking lights. I'm now going to hit 5 times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And it's going to go back to the mode that I actually want it to be. We are not done yet. Appreciate all of those that are sort of sticking around, but I figure this is a little bit easier, and it'll be good for me, for it to be, for me to have a memory of this in case I lose these instructions. So if I long press these buttons, if I long press on the up button, it actually changes the brightness. So if I long press here, and this allows me to change the brightness, I'm actually going to reduce it slightly, which hypothetically will increase the lifespan. The so up and down, so that's what we do after we hold that. So yeah, note if the standby brightness is too high, it will cause uneven on the vacuum fluorescent display. The higher brightness level is not recommended, so I've just reduced that a little bit. And then if I hold the long button, if I hold 1 second, it enters a standby. 3 seconds completely switches it off, so we're not going to bother doing that, but it totally makes sense. Usually the long click is what you actually want to do. And then this is interesting, the speed setting mode. In normal mode, click the OK button 6 times to enter, and then press and hold the OK button for 2 seconds, or do not operate for 5 seconds to exit. So speed second. So let us do 6 times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And this is how I would change the speed. And you can see that I can reduce or increase the speed of the falling of these. And I actually kind of like it at the fastest. Oops. So that's how quick I have it going. And I can either leave it for 5 seconds and it'll go back, or I can click and hold OK for 2 seconds. And you can see now it's back, and now the speed is blinking much better. That I like that. The clock setting mode I'm going to skip over because I'm not even bothering with the clock. I don't really care. But the long story short is you got to hit the OK button 7 times in order to set the clock. And that does a bunch of clock stuff. And there we go. And then there's other functions that for factory default, this is critical, is you hold down the up and the down button for 10 seconds. Now, I'm just going to move my cartridge over in the middle of this record. I'm going to drop it. And you can see now that I've adjusted the speed, a very different sort of mode. But, you know, certainly looks the part as doing what it is. This is all for ridiculous aesthetics. But I have found, certainly while I've been listening to some of the recordings, an interesting mode, especially if I'm seeing elements sort of along here. I know that I'm getting higher frequency out of some of the recordings that maybe weren't expected. There is a mode, I may have skipped over it inadvertently, that you can sort of, yeah, it was the accuracy mode that we sort of dealt with. That was the OK, the 4-click OK, where I can change the decibel. One of the other ones is that there's a sort of a smooth section that allows you to sort of magnify its response. I just have it basically at the moment on the quote-unquote most accurate. It's just bouncing, but it is, you know, some information. And this is kind of fun about how the speed actually works. Anyway, there's our functionality. Let's go back to our regular scheduled video. I mean, this is like really ridiculous, but why not? I got some shiny stuff here. The AK2515 V2. Let's actually get that correct. One of these crazy sort of vacuum fluorescent tubes. I said there were LEDs before, but it's, of course, it actually is vacuum fluorescent the way that we want it to be. And yeah, so I've messed around with that. I don't have my full spectrum the way that I actually probably want to, but we'll go from there. For thatshelf.com, I'm the one looking at the Blinky stuff. I'm Jason Gorber. Thank you so much for watching. Subscribe, follow us on social media. If you have any questions about this thing, let me know. It's super confusing, but hopefully we can figure it all out together. All the best. Take care.